Hello and welcome to Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. I am Mark Vinegar Hoffmeyer.
And I am Jay, the inevitable Cluet. And on Deep Blue Sea, the
Oh,
podcast...
I like that. I like that a lot. Jay, the
works.
inevitable Cluet.
Mark and I have covered the entire Deep Blue Sea trilogy, one DVD chapter at a time. We're now looking at some Deep Blue Sea adjacent films. What is a Deep Blue Sea adjacent film? What is a film directed by Rennie Harlin, or featuring sharks, or lots of aquatic action, which is the case with this month's film, The Sea Beast. What is The Sea Beast? What is our, I think, fourth 2022 film of this year, after The Reef Stalked, Shark Bait, and Deep Water, which I did with Kristen Lopez. One of the least Deep Blue Sea adjacent films ever covered on Deep Blue Sea the podcast, but it sounds like it should be covered Deep Blue Sea adjacent. The Sea Beast, far more Deep Blue Sea adjacent. It came out this year, directed by Chris Williams, starring Karl Urban, Zaris-Angel Hator.
Oscar winner Chris Williams.
Yes, sorry, my apologies. Also starring Jared Harris, Marianne Jean-Baptiste, and a supporting cast featuring the likes of Jim Carter, Doone McKeegan, and Dan Stevens. It is our first animated film we're covering the show because it follows Jacob, a hunter of sea beasts aboard the Inevitable, captained by Captain Crow, played by Jared Harris, who they are on the trail of the Bluster, a giant red monster of some kind that the Crown wants them to capture, but maybe it's not quite so monstrous after all. Who knows? We'll have to talk about it and find out. So, Mark, when I suggested The Sea Beast, what came to mind to you? Were you up for it?
Yes. Listen, it's called The Sea Beast. It has a surly Karl Urban. It has sea beasts. It has a kaiju fight. It has a young orphan.
Several kaiju fights.
Young orphan who's really nice. It has just gigantic sea beasts. Like that's all. I'm a simple man, Jay. If there's a sea beast in it, you know my criteria: catapult, sea beast, jet ski. And this one has a sea beast. And I immediately decided to watch it. I knew who directed it. Like Aaron Newirth, who was a guest on Deep Blue Sea the podcast. He's also a guest on Con Air the podcast. You and I went on to the Out Now with Aaron Abe podcast and talked about Swimming Chicken
Jurassic
Dinosaur
World
movie.
Dominion.
And he loved this movie, so I was like, all right, I trust his judgment. And so I went and watched this, absolutely adored it. It's just giant monsters, and I was stressed out. Spoilers. We're gonna do some spoilers here, Jay. I was stressed out the entire time because I didn't want my beautiful and really really nice red bluster to die. Like I loved it. Like it would be like watching Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon get wiped out. And it's just a super simple story, not trying to be reductive, but that allows for more character beats, good moments, very predictable, but that's nice. Like you can just enjoy it, enjoy the world, and I mean it's for children. Like children don't need The Usual Suspects. Children don't need Pulp Fiction. They need The Sea Beast. So yeah, this was wonderful. I immediately looked for pop vinyls, and I don't think they have them yet.
I'm sure they're coming. I can imagine a red, a red pop vinyl. Maybe not a blue. Cause that already feels just like kind of a blob. Yeah. But I'd be here for it. That's Blue, maybe my favorite character. I don't know. Good. I'm glad you liked it. I liked it too. This is available on Netflix at the moment, I should have said. So you can head out there and watch it very easily. It's right there. It's at home. You can be watching it right now. But yeah, I loved. I'm glad that you brought up the How to Train Your Dragon parallel early on, because if you Google the phrase how to train your sea beast, you get quite a lot of results because it's a very reductive way of titling a review of this film, I think.
Oh, that's lazy.
Yeah, because there are quite a lot of similarities between this and How to Train Your Dragon.
And Moana.
And Moana. But the main plot device of this is a monster, but it's not really a monster. It just wants to, like, we can be friends, kind of. That's very How to Train Your Dragon. And the design of Red is very similar to Toothless, like you said. They also seem to really enjoy the shot of a giant monster head with a small human in the foreground, which is used a lot in How to Train Your Dragon. Mm-hmm. But it works. The perspective works because these creatures are huge. There's several scenes with a human talking to a face, where that face is the size of a large house. And I just like that visual, so I understand why they like to use it. It works.
It's tough for me because like How to Train Your Dragon, there's so many different, like, the creatures misunderstood. Like, look at how many monsters have been misunderstood in the history of cinema. And then so now people are like, oh, well, the sea beast is How to Train Your Dragon. And it's like, well, when do you pick when something has been reductive or when something has been, because like, all cinema's been sort of unoriginal. They all borrow some themes. So like for this one, I definitely sensed it. Like I wasn't just going, oh, hey, this feels familiar. What's this similar to? But I don't know. It's a kids movie, man. Like it's a simple plot for kids. You think monsters are bad? They're not that bad because stories that have been passed down, people just believe. Like the monsters hate humans because the humans attack them. The humans hate monsters because the monsters attack them. But it hasn't always been that way. Like that's such a simple and nice lesson for kids. And there's enough in there for adults to enjoy as well. Like I'm stoked to show this to Mallory. I can't wait. I'll just try not to spoil it for her. Like, oh, here we go. Watch this. But yeah, it's. I don't know, Jay. You're right. It's very similar, but it's also. I mean, there's wooden legs and there's. I mean.
Yeah, and you mentioned Moana. There's similarities to Moana. There's similarities to the second Pirates of the Caribbean film.
Yes.
Like the whole middle island section is my favorite part of both films.
Yeah, there's no awesome chase though involving like crazy gags and people tied to wooden structures.
There's no giant wheel in this one, unfortunately.
Oh man,
I love the wheels.
I love the scene where they're getting out of the red blood. So we don't need to explain the plot. If you've seen it,
the only part we haven't really mentioned is there's a small girl, Maisie, who escapes from her orphanage. Her parents were hunters who died, and she basically stows away on board Captain Crow's boat. Hilarity ensues. She and Jacob end up getting separated from the rest of them and pairing up with the giant red monster. It's the only part that we haven't kind of skipped over, I would say.
Yeah, and then they just go to an island, and they have this wonderful scene with the red bluster, where he's hanging from his nose, and he's getting shot on the palm trees, and there's a giant crab kaiju that gets flung probably 3 miles.
There's like a rope booger hanging from, which is a nice visual. Yeah, I did. There's I think 7 like good action sequences in this film, and that's maybe my favorite one. Is just I think for one thing, it's a fight between one huge skyscraper-sized creature and a guy who seems to think he has a chance at taking this thing down, which that setup is laughable. But the way that they play around with one of them's up a tree, they're tied together on a rope, they're hanging around from place to place. He gets taken out by a giant tsunami.
Oh yeah.
But he just turns around and goes, "Oh bloody hell!" and taken out.
It's beautiful.
It's a fun scene. And then going from that to I like the color codedness of the monsters as well. Like with the big red one, then there's the yellow. There's like that ground covered in eggs. There's not to be yellow walrus things, and then one giant yellow walrus, and then the big purple crab, and there's like a turquoise crocodile kind of thing earlier on. I like that everything's color coded. It's easy to talk about.
Yeah, right. And you could look deep in this movie and talk about how people don't even realize why they don't like each other. There is a meaning to this, and I think that's quite an interesting meaning as well, where it's just kind of like, why? Like, why don't we like each other? Why don't we? And then, hey, let's read these books. Let's learn about it.
It's Shakespearean. It's Montagues and Capulets all over again.
We need more John Leguizamo.
How far back does this go? Yeah. What's that Western? I think Kevin Costner was in it, where there were 2 families.
Oh, Hatfields versus McCoys.
That's the one. Yeah.
Like, well, hey, Jay, why don't we like each other again? Like, what's the reason for all this?
Our fathers fought each other, and their fathers fought each other, and their fathers.
Yeah. Wait, but why did they fight?
The Hoffmeyers and the Cluets have always fought each other.
And then something tragic happens, and then it just leads us towards the inevitable. Like, it's something bad, like something by accident happens, and then it's like, oh, well, we're going to carry on this horrible tradition going on. But listen, the animation too, and I read a lot from the director of this, Chris Williams. I mean, he's very experienced, won an Oscar for Big Hero 6, was nominated for Bolt. He was a Disney guy. He had been at Disney for, 25 years, right? He was at Disney. And he said that he didn't want to become a Disney lifer. So he broke away, did Sea Beast with Netflix with seemingly unlimited resources. Because just the rope effects in this, the water, the wind. Like, I think that's kind of crazy, Jay, that we do sort of take that for granted sometimes, where you watch these animated movies, but behind the scenes, the animators are just stressing because of the water, because of the wind, because of the ropes. You were talking about how in Jurassic Park, you went to the Con Air, that London Action Festival, and you went to a visual effects panel, and I'm speaking for you now, but I love that you said the chicken dinosaur, they like the VFX people for Jurassic Park couldn't do feathers.
Yeah, they had to develop an entirely new program to do. It was ice crystallizing on feathers, because the chicken dinosaur comes out of the water during a very cold time, and they'd never done ice crystallizing on feathers before, so they had to just like work out, well, what does this look like? How do we do this in anything? And they just had to develop. There's the classic story of Pixar doing Finding Nemo, and they finish that, they present it to the producers, and they're made to go away and do it again because it looked too real. They did too good of a job animating water, and it needed to look more animated,
really,
and less realistic. Which I love being told, you're too good at this. Go back and do it worse. Must have been so frustrating.
Like on every one of my employees' desks, I would just get like a pillow where they could just slam their head on it without wrecking the desk, if that makes sense. Just like
I work for an electronics company where my boss has said in the past, you got to make this as small as you can. I design it as small as I can, and you go to him and he says, okay, this is too small. Make it bigger. So to a much smaller scale, I've been there. It's frustrating as hell. I'm sure everyone's been there at some point along some lines. But yeah, it's so frustrating when you do your absolute best to get it as good as they've asked it to be, and it's like you went too far. Step back a little bit. Take a break.
That's amazing. That's like Hot Fuzz. You've done too good. Go to this.
Making the rest of us look bad.
Yeah, that's funny. Did he go? Come on, Jay. Come on. Like, are you serious? Like, come on.
No, I mean, unfortunately, it says without any kind of irony or self-knowing at all. It's like, this is too small. It needs to be bigger. It's I'm gonna kill you. But I'm glad you mentioned Hot Fuzz, because this felt kind of like Hot Fuzz on the Sea at times, just because of the accents everyone's using. Jared Harris in particular, they all seem to be doing kind of West Country, kind of Bristol area accents, which is roundabout where Hot Fuzz is set in Sanford. And I loved that aspect of this, like the fact that it's a kind of international crew, international cast, but there's a lot of English, British people in there. Karl Urban obviously is from New Zealand, so he's not from around here, but he does a decent stab with the accent. But Jared Harris is chewing up all kinds of scenery, which makes me very happy. He's good at accents. You can tell it's Jared Harris all the way through, but he's like, his dad's Richard Harris. Richard Harris is Irish. His mother was Welsh. He grew up in London. So he's got this kind of smorgasbord of accents behind him. And I like whenever he turns it towards something fun like this.
Wait, so a Welsh mother, an Irish father, and he grew up in London?
Yes. So
oh,
he can
man.
capture anything. Well, he grew up in London, but also in Somerset, which is a proper like farmyard accent kind of thing. Not to be disparaging, I think it's a great accent.
Wow. No, because I was listening to it, I'm like, this isn't normal Jared Harris. Like, I love it when animated characters put on accents. It just sort of makes me happy that they went for that.
It's like Bradley Cooper in Guardians of the Galaxy. The complaints that it doesn't sound anything like him. It's like, he's acting.
How do we even know?
Problem here?
How do we even know it's him?
Because it's good.
Let me have your leg. Give me that. How do we? What's a Rocket Raccoon accent?
It's real.
Time to be the captain. Right? No, that doesn't even work. The first one was better.
But I kept wanting some of the pirates just respond like a yarp.
Yeah.
Instead of a I search the yarp.
What if a claymation pirate ship just flowed past them at one moment?
Just Aardman taking it, like stepping in, doing a little bit in the background.
Was that Hugh Grant? Was Hugh Grant the captain in that?
You could have the ship from the pirates. You could have Hugh Grant captain the pirates ship just going past.
Oh,
Give a little nod to each other, like Charlie and Martin Sheen in Hot Fuzz. They're not hot in Hot Shots.
oh, they're
I
capturing
love
the
doing Wall
animals
Street.
for the queen to eat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love doing Wall Street. That's a great line.
That's a great line. That's
I
a great
cut you
line.
off before you said it, but I want this movie now. But you know what's like the witch doesn't even come back in this movie, Jay.
She doesn't. Yeah, that was the bit. That's if I wanted to like tighten up because this is a hair under 2 hours. This is maybe a little too long.
Yeah.
Is my one complaint. And that whole bit with the witch in the third act, I didn't need that. I feel like he could have, when Crow decides he needs the best weapon ever, they could have done something or without having to bring in that kind of the witch character because she's like she demands everything. Like what the price for this everything. They don't quite clarify. Does that mean literally everything? Is he gonna die and all of his possessions belong to her now? It's not really confirmed. And like, does that actually happen? Because in theory, they're successful. So what at the end of this is the inevitable hers? I don't know.
Like and he's not hunting anymore. His crew's gonna leave. No one's ever gonna sail that area again.
Yeah.
So, but
it's a little bit unconfirmed.
mm-hmm.
We don't need everything explained, but that's just feels really kind of tacked on, and that's like a thread that's left dangling a little bit.
That's a Netflix move, and when I mean that, when I say that, it's a lot of movies, a lot of animated films sometimes maybe should be a tight 90, tight 100 animated movies because they're so expensive. Sometimes I think with Netflix, they're just like, money, throwing it at Chris Williams, and then he just sort of went, all right, let's do it. Let's add this in here, even though it goes nowhere. But yeah, that could have been. You don't need that. Maybe they had it on the boat, but it's against the code. And oh man, hey, we're being like DJ Valentine. I love DJ Valentine, but he loves to rewrite movies. He's given me like a schooling in how to do it, so I appreciate it. But yeah, just like keep it on the boat. And then they're like, well, it's against pirate code. It's kind of dirty. I'm like, well, whatever. Let's use it anyway. I'm angry. I'm angry Jared Harris.
Yeah. What did you think about Maisie? What did you think about that little girl?
Well, she's just one. I like it. Like uber precocious. But I mean, so is every animated child on the history of the planet. But I kind of like how she embraces the hunter's life, but then sees this beautiful animal being slaughtered, lets it go, then sort of starts reading books and then starts talking to them. And her motivations, I mean, listen, I like her motivations. She wants to get on a boat, be like her parents. And then she slowly realizes, like, why are we attacking these animals? Why? What? And I like the relationship with Jacob. I like when she steers the red bluster.
Yeah, that's a fun scene.
Yeah, it's just they set her up really well reading the book. No, it's just an alive performance. It's a good animated kid. I like it. And you know what's nice too about this movie is they get separated. They go to the island, then they go back, and then Red gets caught, and then they stop it, and the movie's over. I like that they don't have a dark witch who takes everything from them, or they have another subplot where she's kidnapped, or you can just let these two characters exist. And I think the simple plot, like the very simple plot line of this, just lets the characters breathe and have room, and you get to like, she's pulling the spears out of the red bluster's back, and just have those tiny moments. So yeah, I think they took a lot of time to find the humanity in the characters, and I dug that a lot. I do. But you're right, it's long. This is a long movie.
Yeah, it does feel like they could have taken out 15, 20 minutes. But I really enjoy the moment when Maisie and Jacob meet, where he's like having a drink in the bar, and she just at the window just goes, hello! I love just that delivery of the hello from out of nowhere. Yeah, I'm not always a fan of kids in films, but I think she was very good. And bringing in the little blue creature as her pet. I love Blue. Blue's the best.
Yeah.
Give me a kind of
dangerous
a weird little pet creature in every film. I'm here for it.
You like weird pet creatures, don't you?
I do.
Who's your favorite weird pet creatures? Like the cockroach in WALL-E, is that a weird pet creature?
The cockroach is great. It doesn't talk enough. Recent ones, I enjoyed Socks the cat in Lightyear. It's kind of different. He's like a therapist, weird pet creature, but I enjoyed him. Or it. the dog in Mitchell's versus the Machines.
Yeah.
Pig, dog, look at Fred.
The talking dog in Up.
Yes, Doug. We've watched Doug just the other night. That's the first film my wife and I saw together when we started dating was Up.
Wow.
So that one holds a special place in our house.
Wait, that's the first movie you two watched?
That's the first film we saw together. Yep.
So you watched a movie about Up, and Megan and I watched a movie called Drag Me to Hell. Down.
Yeah.
Hey, but they both worked.
Polar opposite relationships.
Hey, guess how long How to Train Your Dragon is?
My guess, 105 minutes?
98.
98, okay.
But it packs in a lot.
It does, yeah.
But it's also, there's catapults in it.
There's catapults, there's sheep. There's, we talked about this recently on this very podcast.
And dragons go in the water.
Catapults and sea beasts, because they have giant dragons in the water.
I'm sold.
But no jet skis.
Yeah, I guess I can forgive it because they just weren't around yet.
Yeah, yes, this is true. They had yet to develop jet skis.
And I saw in the Avatar 2 trailer, they're sort of riding some of the sea beasts like a jet ski. So in my book, that counts as a jet ski.
I have not seen this trailer, but I'm expecting a giant plume of water shooting up behind them as they go.
Oh, just Danny McBride with an American flag tank top riding one of those dragons.
For a second there, I thought you meant that Danny McBride was in Avatar 2, which I know is what you're proposing, but that surely cannot be the case.
Cowboy hat, Elvis glasses. Like, he's the Michelle Rodriguez of this movie.
Private Quaritch II.
But no, I love the quotes in this movie too. Also, I was watching the beginning, and you know when a lot of people are trained, when a lot of the a lot of military branches, a lot of hunters, they all have these sort of line, a good death. Like in this one, it's like live a great death, die a great death. And I think too they have they have a lot of other lines in this, like just sort of they really seem like an doctrines group where it's like, I'm a hunter, I'm gonna live a good life, and if I die, I'm gonna die a good life. But they're dying for the king and queen to get shipping lanes across. So that's also a pretty interesting thing that I picked up. Like all their catchphrases are really built around a lie.
Yeah.
So there is a slightly not cynical bit to this, but you can also look a little deeper into it, which I like. So, and also one more thing. So I was reading this article about the movie, and I realized that the costume designer is a 6-time Emmy winner, Michelle Clapton. Their costume designer worked on The Crown and Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, yeah.
When you think about those two, like for me, those are like the be-all end-all when it comes to production design and wardrobe. And so once I watched that, my rewatch of the Sea Beast, because we had to push this episode a little while, my rewatch, I noticed the trinkets on jackets, hats. Like nobody will ever notice this stuff. But I was watching hair blowing, and I was watching patches on sleeves. It's like down to like the very like bottom character. There's so much detail in the wardrobe here, which sometimes I wonder if it's necessary, but it does give it a really nice lived-in feel that I didn't catch on the first time. But I mean, it's cool that they brought in one of the best costume designers on the planet. Like she also worked on the Kingsman, which not a very good movie, but the tailoring's beautiful.
Now, I didn't know this when I watched it last, so I didn't pay that much attention. But I did pick up on. I enjoyed the costume design on a more macro level, of like how people have like crab shell helmets for crab shells for helmets and like fish scales for armor. And I always enjoy those kind of little details of using their environments around them to make do with what they can. So that's fun.
It's cool how he stabs his sword. Jared Harris stabs his sword into the deck to grab his spear. Captain Crow. Captain Coe stabs his sword into there to go get his blades, and it's just a really cool. I mean, if you think about it, the red bluster could just come from under the ocean and headbutt the boat and just completely
just eat the boat.
Yeah, it could. There would not be a bite. It could go up and it could just bite on the boat and swim away. That wouldn't make it very thematic. But I do like how they do set up certain rules. Like, oh, those cannons on your superboat are not mobile. They are in one place. Thus, you are going to get destroyed. So it's kind of cool that despite the fact that these things could level a ship at any moment, like just take its sails out. I've never been in a monster fight, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But it's.
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely surprised.
I'm writing a couple scripts about monster fights, but yeah, they still set up the fights quite believably. Just kind of like whale hunting back in the day. Spear it, tire it out, cut off what you need, leave it all for the bottom of the ocean. The very cynical part of me is after watching one of the, I forget what it is, the Attenborough narrated.
Oh,
the Blue Ocean
Blue Planet.
Yeah, where that whale falls to the bottom of the ocean and those insane sharks that are 15 to 20 feet long come along and just rip it to shreds, and then all the life on the bottom of the ocean uses the whale fall. I was like, that's going to feed a lot of people, a lot of creatures at the bottom of the ocean. So it's not a total waste, but it's horrible.
when he throws the big crab, all I could think was that looked delicious. Just that, get some butter in there. Oh.
That'd be my nightmare to fight, because I'm allergic to crabs. So if I'm grabbing onto it and some juices fly in my face, I'll probably get an anaphylactic shock.
That's not gonna help.
So I don't even have to get killed by the crab to get killed. This is like an acid xenomorph thing, but just with crab juice.
I will stop talking about how I wanted to eat the kaiju.
No, man, it's a crab. So you know what happened? I don't think it's because of this, but when I met Megan we were hanging out in 2010. She used to cook these amazing dinners, and then I would just fall asleep because I was exhausted. But she would cook these amazing dinners, and then she made some shrimp. And one time I ate my shrimp faster than her, so I tricked her. I kind of took her attention away, ate one of her shrimp, and then like a few months later, I had some shrimp and my lips started tingling. So I wonder if karma got me. That's when my allergies started.
You stole one shrimp. That was enough.
Yeah, karma.
And Poseidon cursed you that day.
Well, wait. Are you saying Poseidon's responsible for shellfish allergies?
This one in particular, maybe.
I mean, that's fair. I accept that punishment. I really do. I was in Maine. I walked into a restaurant where they were boiling lobsters. And I didn't even think about this, but the steam has the protein. It got into my throat, and I talked to my Megan, and I talked to my mother-in-law. And I'm like, "Can you all breathe?" And they're like, "Yeah, we're fine." I had to run outside because my pipes were closing up because of the stupid lobster steam. Shellfish.
So over on Movies, Films, and Flicks, you've done analysis of long jumps in films. How does Captain Crow's in the opening scene when they're taking out the big turquoise beast? He has that huge jump from the prow of the ship to the monster. How does that stack up?
Well, so these guys aren't human, because remember when that guy falls from the top of the boat with his when he falls on the top of his boat with on the mast from the sail, falls from the top of the sail down, and he's caught by Jacob. Jacob catches a probably 175-pound man, no problem, easily.
And then just carries on to save the bagpipe player as well.
Yeah, so these guys aren't human per se. So in this world, these guys are kind of the Kurt Russell from Soldier, JCVD from Universal Soldier. They're the uber super athletes. So yeah, that jump, it's impressive, but it's not as impressive as say, Dwayne Johnson's jump in, which is ridiculous. I
mean, also not human.
I have been that. You know what's annoying about that movie? They're like, we need to give him one leg to humanize him, and then he pulls off the most insane jump in the history of cinema. That would have been Bourne couldn't have done it. Bond couldn't have done it. Stallone from Cliffhanger couldn't have done it. So it's a great jump though, and I'm more impressed with the aim, because he drills that thing right in the heart.
He does, yeah.
There's a lot of territory there.
And they do just kind of go, he goes down with the monster that it Gandalf's in it, Balrogs him and drags him down underwater, and then he wakes up on deck. I'm like, well, hang on, he was really quite deep. How did he get out of this one? Show me.
Yeah, the bends doesn't work. Jacob probably got him, huh?
I was thinking about the bends when Jacob and Maisie are inside Red swimming under the water. Like they better like come up slowly, like pause at a certain depth, because this is not gonna. We've both seen 47 meters down. They tell us often, you gotta stop, you gotta pause, you gotta tread water for a while. Just this wants to know this.
I am so happy now that you've watched the 47 meters down movies. I was done, like for like a year and a half. I was like, watch these movies. But yeah, you know what I think the best moment of this film is I love that they sort of yada yada the mucus thing in the creature's nose, the bluster's nose, so they can look out of it. But when they just see all the corpses and all the boats and how just insane it is, that's a great visual.
They're just like, you can see out of this thing. There's nothing really there. It's fine. It's an invisible window kind of thing. Yeah, it's all good.
Yada yada. But it provides one of the best underwater shots I've seen in a long time. You know, I love the Phantom Menace. I love that scene where they're underwater. Like we should do a mini episode on that.
Happy to.
Always a
bigger fish.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to talk about the entire movie. We should just do like I have a list somewhere of all the Star Wars sea beasts. We should do a Star Wars sea beast draft.
Do you want to do an episode on the shark scenes in Bond films?
Yes. Yeah. And like, can we include alligators?
I'm sure. Yeah, why not?
Sharks in swimming pools. Underwater shark fights.
Thunderball.
Jaws.
Of course, Jaws versus Jaws. Yeah.
But yeah, it's I love, like, you know what I like about How to Train Your Dragon in this movie is the sense of scale. You know, Roger Deakins was a visual consultant on How to Train Your Dragon, but there are some shots in those movies where when you're in the air with Toothless, or when you see a battle with the gigantic dragon coming out, it really does leave you breathless. And I mean, this one would be for a different reason, right? Because it's underwater. But
yes.
The sense of scale of the shot is really cool, and I love that how big they went. It would have been cool to see in a theater. I'm a big fan of just visual storytelling in general, and when they look down and see how pointless it was that all the boats, animals are eating good down there, though. By the way, that's
absolutely.
Like,
yeah. Although we don't see animals. I don't think we see anything other than the sea beasts.
No, remember when he's the fish scene where he's trying to kill the fish, and then there's another scene where he's under the ocean swimming with the fish.
Yes, you're right. Yes.
So they're just down there munching. Like, they don't have to come up. They're like, listen, a kaiju just got killed. There's a new crab down here. We're gonna be eating for 50 years. Move the house.
Stop hunting, everyone. We're fine. We're good.
like that'd be fun. Like, pickings are slim down here, and then all of a sudden a Scrabble puss falls to the bottom of the ocean, and you're like, oh, rent just went up.
So I enjoyed this. Was
Stupid. Sorry.
International multicultural cast.
Yeah.
Which you don't often see with these kind of period films. Yes, it's animated, so it's kind of set outside of time almost. But having a black female lead, there's other black women on the ship. There's the first mate, Sarah Sharp, played by Marianne Jean-Baptiste, is a very intimidating black woman.
You are so cool.
She has a bed for her knives and guns, which that's fantastic. And then there's I'm not sure what the role is, but the kind of the person in charge of getting things done on the ship and telling everyone what to do is also female, which again, rare to see in these. So I appreciated that kind of thing.
It's always interesting when you are telling a fantasy story, but then you're like, I'm just gonna stick with cultural, like who's living in there, like. There's dragons, there's demons, there's monsters, but then you're like, I'm gonna just go with like who lives there. Like you could be a little bit more diverse. Yeah, but this movie does it great. It made me very happy to see. I was worried though about Sarah or Marianne Jean-Baptiste because that movie Fabric really scarred me, and so I just kept waiting for a dress to come out of the ocean and murder Sarah Sharp. I did.
I haven't seen that one, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I've seen the trailer for that.
I watch so many movies, Jay, and I guess I gauge whether I really love a movie or not on if I actually remember it a week later. And Fabric is there. It's like sewn itself.
Stitched into yourself.
Yeah. Hey.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I have reviewed films that I cannot remember. So, I've written 1,000 words on a film, and I will read that review, and who watched this? This wasn't me, surely. So yeah, not every film sticks with you.
I watched Harold and
Maybe we
Maude.
should watch fewer films.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that, Jay, I need you to do something. Zanati and I are coming up. We're doing an episode coming up soon on Movies, Films, and Flicks about our 5 favorite 21st century horror movie moments, and it's a nightmare to narrow it down to 5. But if you're listening, or Jay, and you want to send me a list, or if you want to record yourself talking about the 5, send them our way at like Deep Blue Sea the Pod or movefilmflicks@gmail, or just find us somewhere and let us know your favorite horror moments of the 21st century. I just want to do that. I think it'd be fun. Record, but like, don't do it like, do a good recording and send my way, and I'll put it on the episode. Like, don't be at like a Disturbed concert and record the 5, because Jay's done that before.
I have. Sorry. Actually, it was the Refused, wasn't the Disturbed. Sorry.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know, like this. I wish I had more. I mean, you have the monarchs who are just complete jokes in this movie, just total jerks. But I do like that, like a sword fight almost just pops off between them. This could have been a much different movie.
I was surprised that the evil admiral Hornigold, played by Dan Stevens, barely in this film, given that Dan Stevens is great in everything he does. He's phenomenal. I thought he was going to be like the main villain of the piece. But he's in a couple of scenes. There's like 4 lines maybe. That's it. Jim Carter and Doom McKeegan as the King and Queen are great. There's a surgeon on the ship. He's only got a couple of lines. He's voiced by a comedian called Paul Chowdhury, who I enjoy. He was a contestant on the British TV show Taskmaster. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. It's maybe my favorite show. And he's just a really odd guy who approaches life in a different way than most people do, I would say. Quite a dour person. I'm just fascinated as to how he ended up in this film, having like a couple of lines here. He just might know somebody here or there, I don't know. But when I saw his name in the credits, I was like, Paul Chowdhury is in this. And it didn't live up to my expectations of what's this character going to be, because he just has a couple of lines like, I'm sorry, can you move over? Oh, sorry. That's about all he has. But I don't know. I just want to give a shout out to Paul Chowdhury.
You should. How'd you end up in this? But you know that they had a lot more in this movie. They didn't have Maisie in this film.
Yeah, originally it was called Jacob and the Sea Beast.
So I think they were like, crap, we just made a movie about a dude hunting a sea beast. Like, we need a kid. So then they had to go back and do everything over. So, maybe some of these characters had a lot more to do in other drafts of the movie.
Yeah.
Man,
I enjoyed how Jacob interacted with Blue, despite like picking him up and throwing him as far as he can at every opportunity.
Yeah.
That's how I am with children. That's just I just enjoyed that a great deal. Just pick him up by the face and throw him away.
Yeah, he did not warm up, did he? And that thing's impervious, and it bites a wooden door / window off.
But when Maisie feeds it, it like engulfs her entire arm, but does not eat her arm. So that could have gone very badly.
I don't know. It's like the inner lining. There's not much stomach to that creature. So I'm always
it's mainly head.
Yeah, I'm always fascinated with the inner workings, because in this movie, yes, these people do have heightened powers, but they still have they probably still need limes or scurvy. Like, they digest things. I wonder about that Blue. Did they steal Blue? Blue?
I think Blue just follows of its own accord.
Got it.
Blue. I don't know if Blue has a parent or even is a child. That could be a fully grown adult Blue.
You're right.
We know.
I was being reductive. That's a good point. I never even thought about that. Blue could be like a grandpa.
Yeah. Or some kind of immortal, one-of-a-kind being that's been around since the dawn of time. We have no idea. This is just a thing that eats.
So you're saying it was there with Michael Sheen and David Tennant and Good Omens?
Yeah. It's the third one. It's
I want that show.
One from heaven, one from hell, one from some other place, and it's this thing.
I'm still waiting on Neil Gaiman to read the Cheesecake Factory menu.
I'm sorry, what?
They were gonna do something where he read the Cheesecake Factory menu, and they never did. It was a thing for a while. Also, have you watched Sandman yet?
No, not yet. No.
I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot.
I still haven't seen bloody Top Gun Maverick, so I'm behind on all of this year's pop culture.
Yeah, Sandman. It's I really just like watching one episode at a time and enjoying it. It's very ambitious. I love the camera work. Tom Sturridge.
Pass.
Yeah, he's good. And also the Constantine, one of the Doctor's companions is in there too. I haven't seen her in a minute. She's cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's not Sea Beast.
I mean, I want to see it. I just haven't yet.
Life.
Yeah. So, do you want to know how the Sea Beast is like Deep Blue Sea? I have a short list, not huge. So there is a fire out at sea early on. This is all about a world of gliding monsters. Throughout, there's a kind of prison escape from a kind of prison when Maisie breaks out of an orphanage at the start. A ship is attacked from below by a creature. The humans are surprised by an animal's intelligence. There is a long-range harpoon throw. A burly hero who's good with a knife. There's fireworks. There's a damaged flooding ship. There is at one point there is a horn that cuts through the water like a shark fin. Red is doing that very much on purpose. And there's a blue pet.
Oh, that's a good one. How deep is it?
Okay, this was tricky because animated, not a lot to base this on, so a lot of this is guesswork. But it's only really deep when they're like inside Blue swimming around, and early on when Captain Crow gets dragged underwater, but mostly up on land, up on ships, etc. So it's only about a foot deep on average, because it all kind of balanced out, unfortunately. And blue, it is. I thought it would be bluer. It's 27.6% blue. So I thought it was going to be bluer, but there's a lot of other colours on screen at various times. So depth-wise, it is less deep than Lifeboat, but less deep than Jaws 2, but deeper than Lifeboat. And it is bluer than Cutthroat Island, less blue than Shark in Venice. So that Cutthroat Island comparison is two kind of piratical films set on ships a lot, and occasionally on land. So I like that those two are right next to each other in terms of blueness.
Oh, that's good.
So this is to date our 19th deepest film and 22nd bluest film.
How about since I forced you into this every single time, do you want to do a draft where we pick movies featuring sea monsters, not like? So we did our favorite sea monsters since 2010, but we can pick just sea monsters now. But it can't be like alligators, not like creature features. It has to be like sea beasts in the movie.
Are we picking the movies or the monsters?
Movies. So I mean, you can do Phantom Menace is on the board, like that kind of stuff. Sea beasts. I'll let you have first pick.
I'm gonna take The Host. Straight out of the gate, because I loved The Host.
That thing is a wonderful sea beast.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna take Deep Rising.
Of course.
Because that's like two of the three, jet ski and sea beast. Huge sea beast, mind you. So yeah, I'm gonna take that one.
I'm gonna take Leviathan.
Oh. That's fun, dude. That movie's fun. Stan Winston.
It is fun. I had a good time talking about that one.
I'm gonna do Underwater. I don't want to give it away because you haven't watched it yet, but I'm gonna take Underwater.
I have seen it.
Oh.
I didn't really. I mean, I kind of half watched it and just made a point of not liking it. I don't know. We're gonna do it soon, listeners. Underwater's coming soon, hopefully. So.
I love that movie. All right, what do you got next?
Next, I don't think about this whilst you're picking yours. So I should do. I mean, I've got Leviathan, so I feel like I shouldn't then take The Abyss, because they're kind of the same film.
Take it.
So, no, I don't want it. There's other reasons, which is I don't want it.
Leave me alone, Mark.
There's a lot of films out there that have sea monsters in them. And creature, well, it's
that's fine. It's a monster. It's a water monster.
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, all right.
It came from the sea at some point, I'm sure. So Creature from the Black Lagoon,
that's
1954, I want to say, 50s.
Filmed it in Florida.
Didn't know that. I remember really liking that when I saw that.
I'm gonna do Sea Fever.
I don't know what that is.
Oh yeah, it's wonderful sea monster. It's like, how do I explain it? Great cast. It's about it's like a parasitic infection, but it's a gigantic sea beast. So good. And Hermione Corfield's in it, who was in the Misfits episode that we did. And Connie Nielsen? No, I mixed up her for Saffron Burrows. My apologies, Saffron. No good. Bad look.
What should I take? How many were we picking?
5. Always 5.
Always 5. Okay. Would you accept? No, I was gonna try and do Cabin in the Woods because of the merman, but it's not enough. No, it's not enough. I would say. Oh, The Shape of Water.
Big time sea beast. Loves eggs.
Yes. Loves eggs and cats.
I'm gonna kidnap a sea beast and just keep it and feed it eggs.
What could go wrong? It can live in my bath. Everything's fine.
You know what? This is a really odd one, but I'm gonna do Tentacles because I love that movie and I'm gonna cover that eventually. So I'm gonna do Tentacles. It's a really crazy movie. So yeah.
Is that one that we should cover on here?
I mean, yeah, you should absolutely look into it because it's like, the Italians made some really bonkers.
Should we cover on here? You should look into it. I was like, okay.
No,
I'm reading between the lines.
Yes, no. Is it okay, Jay? Is it good? Is it good? Is it good? It's 3.7 out of 10 on IMDb. But it's about a giant squid attacking people at a seaside resort town, and it's like an Italian-American B picture that, like, I don't know why people watch this movie and go, that sucks, because it's just trying to be a knockoff B picture. So it's a knockoff B picture. It's an A plus B. It's an A plus knockoff ripoff, and it's 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. But I love it, so I don't care. I'm taking Tentacles.
Okay, then I will take for my final pick Godzilla vs. Kong.
Oh, I got destroyed on the last one we did. And I'm going to get destroyed on this one. But
well, the problem is you've seen more of the lesser known films, like the Sea Fevers and the Tentacles of the world, which I haven't seen, so I can't pick them. So my choice is just to go with either films I haven't seen, which I don't like picking, or these ones that people know. So that's what I'm going to pick, I'm afraid.
I'm going to take Sweetheart as my final pick.
That is on my list to cover at some point.
Sea Monster.
Haven't seen it.
It's so good. I like it. It's really fun. Also, Kiersey Clemens is good in it. Emery Cohen can't be bad. I like him a lot. And it has a practical effect sea monster. So I'll take that.
Well, I've added Sweetheart, Tentacles, and Sea Fever to our ever-expanding list of films to eventually cover on this show.
Now, the nice thing about Tentacles is it's free. Like, so I know in the United States, wherever you watch it, it's free. So I'm pretty sure we're in your neck of the woods. If you have like a Tubi or a Vudu or one of those, you'll find it for free somewhere, YouTube. So, but yeah, I mean, Kino Lorber, they released some crazy, like kind of old school creature features. So I just went and bought a bunch of them recently. And
this is from '77.
Yeah, Tentacles. Yeah.
Okay.
But like they did, like Kino Lorber crocodile movie. Like they released the craziest pictures, man. And I see them and I'm like, ooh, I'll take that. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I couldn't even find the name of it. I bought it.
I found it on YouTube.
Yeah, Tentacles. Cool.
Add to my watch list. Okay. Great.
And also, Zombie features a zombie fighting a shark.
That's on the list already.
Yeah. But it's kind of a hard scene. It's like that scene's like Piranha 3D meets, Piranha 3D basically. It's pretty crazy.
I've seen that film. It's Piranha 3D.
They like drugged a tiger shark and they just put a stuntman down there and he fought with it. They stuffed it full of food and drugged it, and then a guy fought the tiger shark.
I don't like that.
No.
That doesn't make me happy.
But you watch it and you're going, man, this is insanity. But yeah, I don't know. If you don't like that, then I wouldn't watch it. At least it's YouTube. At least watch the clip.
It's on the list. We'll get there at some point.
All right. Well,
we've got years worth of films to go on here.
Good. Sea Beast, man.
There's a lot of them out there.
Should have been my high school yearbook quote, like Sea Beast, man.
Excellent. So, what have you got to plug, Mark?
Yeah, just movies, films, and flicks. I have the Tom Cruise video that I've been talking about for a long time will finally be up on Fandom, so that'll be cool. I got a Nick Cage data post. Also on Film Theorist, I have a Sesame Street article, and also I did a video. I'm sorry, I did a video for them about Lord of the Rings walking to Mordor. That'll be out at the end of September. Rotten Tomatoes, I wrote an Event Horizon piece, and then I work on their Versus videos, and then movies, films, and flicks, movies, films, and FLIX. Check us out there. Also, I just want to say hi to all of our listeners in Great Britain. We're number 1 in Oman right now, Jay. I don't know if you know that. We hit number 9 in Canada. So hello to all of our Canadian listeners. We really appreciate y'all listening. We're not stalking you. We just get the kind of listener data from Apple Podcasts. I know where you live. I'm behind you. But yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. There's legitimately millions of podcasts out there, and everyone's busy. So we just appreciate you listening to this.
And if you have any recommendations for films we haven't talked about that you think we should talk about, then let us know on any of the social medias, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at DeepBlueSeaPod, or email us deepblueseapod@gmail.com. You can find more of my writing over at lifeversusfilm.com. Listen to me once a month over on Lampardy, over on the Lamcast, hosting movie trivia. Having a fun time over there. And Con Air, the podcast. Mark and I are breaking down Con Air scene by scene. We're having a good time doing that with many of your favourite guests from Deep Blue Sea in the past. We're having a lot of fun talking about that ridiculous fun film.
Someone said that I'm criminally insane. No,
they did. They were correct.
I'm either criminally insane or I'm really smart. And I feel like you just meet them in the middle.
Criminally smart.
Someone said I'm the smartest man alive or criminally insane. I don't agree with smartest man alive. I would lean closer to criminally insane.
There's a lot of options there.
Yeah. So meet it in the middle. I think that's where you'll get me. I think that's fair.
Yeah, listeners. What about me? What am I? I'm here too.
Jay, you're wonderful. Everyone just loves you.
Thanks, Mark. That must be it.
Yeah,
that must be the case.
You're an endearing presence. You're not a criminally insane human being that people, people are just like, I really like this guy. I really like Jay. So, but let Jay know.
What do you think of me? Tell me. I can take it.
Yeah,
maybe.
Don't be mean.
We'll see. Nah, bring it on. No, it's fine. As long as it's 5 stars. So this is your September episode. Is on the Sea Beast. For October, we're going to be heading back to Ronnie Harlan for Nightmare on Elm Street 4. Whatever the tagline for that one is, I can't remember. The Dream something or other, which is a nice horror movie for October. Dream Master, there we go. But like I said, there might be an episode on Underwater coming up. We had that bonus episode of our monster movie draft recently, so we might get some little bonus episodes here and there. We've just chucked an episode on James Bond sharks and the Phantom Menace.
Star Wars. We're doing Phantom Menace. Let's do Phantom Menace.
So there'll be some bonus episodes here and there coming along as we find the time to record them, and so expect those here and there. But as for today, as for the Sea Beast, I've been Jay Cluett.
And I'm Mark Hoffmeyer.
And we'll Deep Blue see you again soon.